It can be said that unfinished building projects are the worst nightmare for Chinese people in terms of their wealth dream. Whoever buys a home in an unfinished project will have their lifetime wealth ruined. Since 2022, the problem of halted construction and uncompleted buildings has worsened across China. Many victims are trying to figure out what to do. Some of them have taken the step to unite and stop repaying their loans en masse. Industry insiders describe it as the middle class starting to buy lan, which means let it rot in English. Let it rot means voluntarily giving up pursuing certain goals, realizing that they are simply unattainable. This game of buy lan has triggered other homeowners to follow suit. As of July 13, 2022, homeowners of over 100 projects nationwide have issued loan suspension notices, and the storm continues to grow. In Wuhan, a real estate project in its second phase is one such unfinished building. On June 1, 2022, homeowners who purchase units in this property decided to collectively issue a loan suspension notice. They said, "We had given the developer time to resume work. If they didn't resume work by November 1, 2021, we would have to stop making payments. They can't corner us to death. If they fail to resume work, I can't keep repaying the loan." This building started selling in 2019 and was scheduled to be delivered in December 2021. In July 2021, the developer Meihao Group stopped construction on some of its developments in Wuhan. It prompted the homeowners to gather and check on the building where they bought units. They discovered that the building was indeed behind schedule. It was already 70% built and roofed over, but the construction was stopped. The homeowners went to the government and the developer more than once, but what they got was time and time again excuses, appeasement, and delay. Many of the owners have to make a monthly payment of $1,000 to $1,500 on their mortgages. Some of them are waiting for a flat to get married. Now, when the flat is not available, it's becoming problematic whether they can get married or not. This is a snapshot of the current state of real estate development in China.
这是没人住，确定是那什么，两栋烂尾楼，这一群5台大客车的。
So, why are there so many uncompleted properties in China? In 1994, China's real estate industry introduced the pre-sale system from Hong Kong. In the pre-sale stage, developers or builders take the uncompleted buildings as collateral and use them to borrow money. For example, homeowners usually put down 30% and borrow 70% from the bank. All the funds are a one-time payment for the property that's given to the developer. The sweetness of this system is that the bigger the real estate company gets, the easier it gets, because the customers pay more deposits and the real estate company can easily expand without having to put down more capital themselves. This system led to an explosive rise in the number of real estate developers in mainland China to over 100,000 in just a few years. The Chinese government has introduced a series of policies to regulate pre-sale funds. But with widespread corruption permeating the system, these policies remain on paper only. In the deep darkness of the financial system, the Communist Party's powerful and elite and big business people have their eyes on the billions in pre-sale funds. It is impossible to keep these funds safe in the banks with the joint efforts of the local government, banks, and real estate companies. While the developers use very little of their own funds to acquire land, creating a huge real estate bubble, the risks and interest on the funds are passed on to homebuyers. The homebuyers and the bank have formed a loan relationship, and the owners are required to pay back the loan to the bank within a certain number of years in monthly installments. Once the developer gets the money, it doesn't care if the building quality is good or not. The home buyers who have paid in the money are naturally vulnerable as they virtually have zero ability to bind the developers. It's only by luck that they get their hands on a good piece of property, or bad. This is the root cause of the alarming number of tofu-dreg buildings in China. But what's worse than tofu drag new homes is when homeowners encounter uncompleted buildings. Dear leaders, I am the owner of Unit 1807 in Unit 1 of Hanhai Bay Building No. 6, and I am a doctoral graduate of the Chinese University of Hong Kong. At the beginning, I came to Zhengzhou through a talent recruitment program, but now my heart and body are not with Zhengzhou anymore because I bought an uncompleted building. We the people, including intellectuals, want something very simple, a place to live. It's really hard for so many families. Please let us either see the home or please understand our difficulties. We have no other options but to take to the streets. We have no more options. Otherwise, who wants to take to the streets and have everyone stare at us? I even feel embarrassed of the slogan posted on my car. I was stupid to buy this home. We are forced into this situation. Can the bank give us a break to stop the payment? Even a break of 6 months can be helpful. I need to pay back 6,000 RMB or US 890 a month. I have a family of 4 living in a rented home. A monthly rent of 2,500 RMB or 372 US dollars. I need about 8,000 RMB or 1,190 US dollars a month. How easy is it for an average person to earn 8,000 RMB? I make only 7,000 RMB a month, and my wife earns only 4,000 RMB. I'm afraid to get sick and see a doctor. China's Supreme Court Trial Committee had discussed a civil judgment in 2019 that determined that the risk of an unfinished building should not be borne entirely by homebuyers, and that the developer should return the principal and interest collected on the purchase loan to the lending bank and the homebuyer, and the homebuyers are not obligated to return it. This ruling seems reasonable, but in practice it is extremely difficult to execute. For example, in the suburbs of Beijing, Yanjiu homeowners are sued by their banks for stopping making mortgage payments and being blacklisted by credit checking, and they have virtually all lost their future. In China, credit checking or credit ratings affect 3 generations. That is, if an individual is blacklisted by banks and other financial institutions due to credit issues, his or her children will be affected in their applications to join the military, civil servants, and public institutions. Some large financial institutions will not accept the children of defaulters, and bad credit also impacts family members taking out bank loans. China's major universities and military academies have stricter political checks on parents. As a result, parents are generally concerned that being on the credit blacklist will likely affect their children's ability to attend higher education. However, more and more Chinese people are realizing that their lives have been ruined by unfinished building projects. When they encounter such a property, their savings are gone because of the down payment, their salary is gone because of the loan payment, and their home is gone because the bank will take it away when the developer fails to finish the project. They have nothing left. In comparison, it is not so terrible to stop paying the loan and get on the blacklist of credit. In the notice of loan suspension, many homeowners have written, "We have to rent, raise children, and support parents. Our life has been incredibly difficult. We can no longer pay the loan for an unfinished building. After all, we can't even afford food anymore. Who cares about credit?" The root cause of the massive emergence of uncompleted buildings is the pre-sale system of housing. But for a long time, no one has wanted to abolish it. For local governments, such a system brings the benefits of high turnover, gaining more revenue from land sales in a short period of time. If it takes 2 years to realize a piece of land, developers are bound to slow down land acquisition, and local land finance is likely to encounter troubles. Real estate developers and local governments had expected the land economy's pyramid scheme to continue forever. What they didn't expect was Xi Jinping's central government, which introduced the 3 red lines policy in August 2020 to prevent developers from running up debts and to deflate the real estate bubble. The direct consequences of these policies is that it has broken the capital chains for many real estate companies in a short period of time. One of the consequences of a broken capital chain is that many developments being built by these real estate companies have come to a halt. As of July 13, 2022, almost 2/3 of Evergrande's projects around the country have been stopped. That is, as many as 31 projects. Just in the city of Zhengzhou in Henan province alone, there are 25,249 units belonging to uncompleted building projects, which represents 29% of the total sold properties in the city in 2021. In other words, for every 3 homes sold in 2021, one of them belonged to an unfinished building. This is the largest unfinished building in Zhengzhou, leaving more than 6,000 owners homeless. The project has been for sale since 2013. Back then, people waited in line to get a number in order to buy. At that time, a good number was speculated to cost 30,000 to 200,000 RMB each. There was a rush to buy, and it was such a hectic scene. Now, 8 years have passed and still no homes have been delivered. No one is at the construction site. How many people who bought homes here are now paying off their loans while renting at the same time? Changsha, the capital of Henan province, has more undelivered projects than Zhengzhou in terms of numbers, with a whopping 28,139 units, accounting for 21% of the total number of transactions. That's 1 of every 4 flats sold belonging to an uncompleted project. Guangzhou also has 12% of sold units belonging to unfinished buildings. In the face of the massive number of uncompleted properties, homeowners have put aside their fears of being on the credit blacklist. They have united and posted a collective notice of loan suspension online. According to a frequently updated table that lists all the loan suspension notices by homeowners, more than 100 projects have had loan payments collectively suspended as of July 13, 2022. A large number of these properties are concentrated in Henan, Hebei, Henan, and Jiangxi provinces. Owners of unfinished properties in more than 15 provinces have joined to defend their rights. The number of forced loan suspension projects is expanding rapidly, from 52 on July 12th to over 100 on July 13th. By the time this episode airs, the number may have doubled. Chinese industry insiders say that this is no longer a game within a legal framework, but a game in Bailan style. Like the depositors who lost their deposits in the village banks, homeowners of the unfinished buildings are not the lower class of Chinese society, but rather the middle class. But the lack of oversight and transparent information in China's real estate and financial systems have driven them from middle class to proletarian, or even worse, people who are debt-ridden. In the face of power, the Chinese have a mindset that the law can't hold the masses responsible. That's why homeowners dare to stop repaying their loans collectively today. If one person stops the loan, it's a legal issue. If 1,000 people stop the loan, it's a livelihood issue. The owner's counterattack against the uncompleted building is also simple and direct. That is, buy land to completely give up. People simply said, I don't care about credit scores anymore. I just don't make any payments. It's the bank who should fear the situation now. Indeed, the risk will come to the banks in China when the homeowners collectively stop making payments. As of now, it is impossible to count the number of owners and the amount of sales involved in the properties with suspended loans. We can refer to some previous data. Some Chinese media did a count when there were only 14 properties involving about 46,000 owners and a total of about RMB 34.7 billion or 5.17 billion US dollars. If we take a multiple of 10, when the list grows to be about 140, the number of people involved will be 4.6 million, and the amount of money will be about 51.7 billion US dollars. Now, some banks are calling homeowners one by one, saying they can help apply for deferment up to 1 year and then pay back after the deferment period, but some require compound interest. A vice president of a bank of a joint stock bank said in an interview with China's media outlet Jiemian News, banks dare not make random decisions because the number of people and groups involved is so large that it can easily cause a domino effect and expand the risk instead. The subprime mortgage crisis in the US in 2007 triggered a financial tsunami around the world. It was mainly triggered by a sharp increase in defaults in the US mortgage industry. If more unfinished buildings in China are caught up in the wave of forced loan suspensions, coupled with other deep-seated problems in China's financial system, the chain reaction is likely to become China's version of the subprime mortgage crisis.